Greetings, amigos and top teners everywhere. Welcome back to another edition of Top 10 with Kyle and Mike. I am your co-host, Kyle. Opposite me today, as he is every week, is your co-host, Michael. Now, he's looking very different today. Most of his hair is gone. We are entering week 2 of quarantine, week 3 for him, I think. And so, in need of a haircut, he did it himself. Now, very importantly, right next to your co-host, Michael, is our social media maven and one of our very favorite guests, Caroline. Caroline will be joining us today. She has a top 10 list prepared. I do not know what the list is. I don't know if Mike knows what it is or not. Regardless of who knows it and who doesn't, we will be discussing it and then vigorously debating before re-ranking. And at the end of this episode, we will have arrived at a definitive version of that top 10 list. So, what are we talking about?
Thank you, Kyle, for that splendid introduction. And, I just want to make one quick amendment. You were noting about my haircut. So this is a quarantine haircut, but my barber is actually the lovely lady sitting next to me, my fiancée, Caroline. I think it was probably the closest we've ever been. I would say emotionally.
It was a pretty romantic moment.
It was. Although I do say it was the closest we've ever been. This morning I had a tummy ache and you rubbed essential oils on my belly. So yep. I don't know. Maybe that was closer. You didn't say nani, but you did rub my tum-tum.
This quarantine is really bringing us to a new level of closeness.
I'm picturing, y'all have seen Ghost, right?
I have not.
Ghost?
With Patrick Swayze?
No, what's that all about? Is that a Hayao
Miyazaki?
No.
No. Oh my god. So Ghost is a classic love story of it's Patrick Swayze. I think it's Demi Moore.
Oh, you talking about the clay scene? I didn't know that was the movie you're talking about. Yes, I know
the clay scene, but it's the clay scene, but it's Caroline behind you rubbing oil on your stomach.
That's fantastic. That's actually really good. So because my head sort of looks like clay
right now,
like me just spinning around and her holding my tum-tum. Wow, Kyle, that's a hell of an image. Sorry, listeners. That's probably disturbing for you at home, but that's a good image.
Apologies.
Yeah.
What's the topic? What are we talking about today?
All right. Well, so before I start, I just want to mention that although I've been on the pod multiple times since, the last time I actually put together my own list was probably your 4th or 5th episode ever 2 years ago. So I am ready for my big comeback. Yeah, my
useless school knowledge?
Yeah, useless school knowledge was my only curated list.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's stunning.
It's a big night for me.
Damn. Square peg, meet round hole.
Triumphant return.
Yeah.
Okay. So, to my list. This topic came about because my dear friend Michael over here likes to joke around and say that my favorite genre of music is movie montage music. So, like, happy, I don't even know. You'll get some examples later in the pod. But basically, I really love music, and I really love when it really helps, like, tell the story in a movie. So, my list this evening is best curated movie soundtracks.
Now, give us the caveats,
yeah,
baby.
So we've got lots of caveats here. So, this list is only going to be movies that I've seen, which means that it's going to be pretty biased, pretty niche.
That's what we do,
it will be
on this
very
pod.
Different than any best soundtrack list you will find on the internets. Number 2, this list does not include original soundtracks or any scores. So my list will be made out of completely curated songs, with the exception of some of these soundtracks have like one title song that was made for the movie.
Yeah.
But that's
okay.
But otherwise, previously released music that was compiled for the soundtrack of the film.
Got it.
Yeah.
That, I've already got a couple in mind. I'm sure are on your list as well.
Excellent.
There is one that immediately comes to mind that I'm imagining you're thinking of. That's, I gotta assume, so I knew that this list was coming, and I'm aware of Caroline's taste in film, I have to assume that I know number one. And I imagine that it's exactly the movie you're thinking of, because there's number one is like the best, is so obviously the best.
I'd be surprised if we were thinking of a different movie.
Yeah.
If you know anything about my taste in movies, in culture in general, then you can probably guess a lot of the movies on this list.
Let's just say Han Solo is in it, and it's not Star Wars.
Wow, I sure am excited because Caroline has fantastic taste in most things, but I feel like our movie tastes don't necessarily line up, and so I feel like this podcast will be one part me being like, I do love the soundtrack to that movie, and like 5 parts or 9 parts me being like, wow, I need to go watch that movie and enjoy the soundtrack.
Wow.
We'll
Kyle,
see.
you really are a gentleman.
But that's very sweet of you. But I feel like you've probably seen most of these, honestly.
I'm very excited about this. I can't believe it's a shame that we waited 2 years to get you back on here with your own list, but it seems that the wait, it'll be worth the wait, is what they
Agreed.
say. I think. Right?
I think you're
That's
right
the
about
phrase.
that.
Yeah.
I've heard them say that before. People are saying.
Yeah.
All right, Linus, number 10.
All right, let's kick it off with number 10. So, this is one of my all-time favorite books and movies.
Ooh.
Whoa.
This is The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Whoa, number 10? Holy mackerel.
We might have to debate vigorously. I don't know. So within each ranking, I'm going to talk about some of the highlight artists / songs that are featured on the album. Maybe some fun facts, maybe some stats on like critical acclaim, and maybe in every single one, I'll list my favorite scene that involves one of the songs from the album.
I wonder what this one is.
Okay, so Perks of Being a Wallflower, this movie came out in 2012. However, most of the songs from the soundtrack are throwbacks, so a lot of 60s, 70s, 80s songs, most, I would say.
Some good like 90s grunge music too.
Yeah. So there's a lot of David Bowie songs, a lot of the Smiths songs. The best scene, in my opinion, which I think everyone who have seen this movie or read this book has to agree, is of course the tunnel scene. So I got a little quote from the book that will give listeners some background on the scene without I guess it does spoil stuff, but so the quote is, "This is happening, I'm here and I'm looking at her and she's so beautiful. I can see it. This one moment when you know you're not a sad story. You're alive, and you stand up and see the lights on the buildings and everything that makes you wonder. And you're listening to that song and in that drive with the people who you love most in this world. And in that moment, I swear we are infinite." And in the scene in the movie, Heroes by David Bowie is playing, and they're driving through this tunnel in Pittsburgh, all like Titanic style, and it's just, man, it's a tearjerker. It's beautiful, it's amazing. It really encapsulates everything like that a soundtrack brings to a movie.
I will say that song is it's like one of the greatest songs ever made, and so using it in a movie scene will automatically boost the quality of that scene. So you have to really make sure that you've earned it, and this is a scene that absolutely earns the right to use that song. It's a really incredible movie moment.
100%. And one of the things that I think is so neat about it is that for folks who had read the book, and that's a lot of people will compare it to Catcher in the Rye. Pick a book, whatever. It's one of those books that a generation just really connected with. Like those Gen X, sort of late 80s to 90s kids just adored that book. And so people who had read that and were looking forward to the movie for a long time were kind of in suspense about what the song was, because in the book it's just referred to as the tunnel song. Mm-hmm. You don't actually ever find out what the song is. And I don't know if they consulted with Stephen Chbosky about what the song should be.
Yeah.
But it was the perfect pick.
Yeah.
You couldn't have picked a better tunnel song.
Yeah, I do have a follow-up fun fact to that.
Let her rip.
So I guess there in the book, Charlie mentions a ton of different songs throughout his accounts. And the movie did not necessarily use all of those songs that he had mentioned in the book. So there's like online forums debating like what the real movie soundtrack should have been. Which I thought was pretty cool.
That feels like a fun Reddit.
Yeah. The only song I think
Who's
that was
the
like
author?
Steven Chbosky.
Release the Shabosky cut.
Yeah. Oh, that would be fun. He came to ND actually and gave a talk. It was amazing. It was really cool. Yeah. What were some of the other ones? Are they out there? Like, do you know what they were?
I didn't write them down. I forget, but
damn. Well, that is a hell of a number 10. I got to tell you.
yeah. Now in retrospect, I need maybe to debate vigorously to move that up on my own list. So we'll see.
You know who else would put that higher? Imagine Dragons. They fucking love this movie.
They sure do. That's probably one of the best trailers of all time.
So although that song was used in the trailer, it's not on the soundtrack.
Yeah, which is weird.
Which is a bummer because it's a good
but
song.
it's I think we should allow it because it's connected.
It's interesting and important, but I think it should be allowed because, like, I feel like that song really boosted them around that time, and it's hard to think about that movie without thinking of that song.
It was all that movie and Our Friend Fiona. Those were their earliest boosters.
Definitely.
Yeah, I just want to give one quick for folks who like this movie and who may have trouble sleeping from time to time. There is no better song to fall asleep to than the song "Asleep" by the Smiths. It's not, I don't think, about falling asleep at night, but it's great to help you do that. I'll just say it's very soothing in that context.
That was actually a song that he had mentioned in the book that was also in the movie.
I remember that, actually.
That's
specifically
cool.
remember that being one of the ones that was called out.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, dog.
So that's number 10.
Number 9.
All right. Number 9, we've got Dirty Dancing. So I actually have not seen this movie in quite a long time.
More Swayze. This is our second Swayze reference in the first 10 minutes of this pod.
If we don't do a ghost pod, we should just do a Swayze pod.
Yeah, 100%.
He deserves it. Cool. So Dirty Dancing, of course, full of hits, some highlight songs, Be My Baby, of course, Time of My Life, which brings me to the best scene.
Wait, who sings Time of My Life? Does anybody know?
Yeah.
Is somebody famous?
No, it is. Hold on.
Calculating.
Bill Medley and Jennifer Warnes. Warnes?
I don't know.
Wow.
I never would have known that.
Yes. So, but I have a fun fact about this later. So.
Oh.
Yeah, so the best scene is, of course, the end when they do the infamous dance scene with the lift.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling kills it in that scene.
Yes. And so the fun fact is that the producers had originally reached out to Donna Summer and Lionel Richie to record that song because this is actually a made for the movie song, and they declined.
Wait, hold on. So this song was written by whoever put the score together by some producer, and they offered this to them, and they're just like, nah. And instead we got whoever you just said.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yikes. Tough month.
They would have been, I think, the only 2 black people involved in the making of this movie.
Probably.
I gotta assume, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Jennifer Grey is the closest they got to black in this movie. Hey-o!
Oh, man. Yeah, so...
You guys want to know something weird?
Yeah, let her rip.
I've never seen Dirty Dancing.
What? Kyle!
It's a little bit weird to see what's her name Bueller in another movie. It'll throw you off a little bit.
I don't like that, but I suppose I could watch it anyways.
So this album had spent 18 weeks as number 1 on the Billboard Top 200 album chart.
Whoa!
Yyep.
Especially weird in a time when that mattered. Now, I feel like the weird things can happen because, I don't know how they do streaming, all that, blah, blah, blah. But, back then, that's a pretty big deal.
Yep. And Time of My Life was also number 1 on the singles chart for a while. Wow. I don't have the exact time frame, but yeah. So that's number 9.
Damn.
Anything else to add, friends? Ready to move on to number 8?
No.
This is going to make a killer playlist when we're all done with this.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Oh, yeah. Luckily, we have some personal investment from our SMD.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. So that takes us to number 8. So this is a little bit of an outlier compared to all of the other movies on this list. This movie is called Someone Great, and I highly doubt that either of you two have seen this movie.
I don't know if I've heard of it. Have I heard of it?
It's a Netflix original movie that came out last year.
Okay.
It actually got incredible reviews. It stars Gina Rodriguez, the girl from
Virgin.
Yep.
Something.
Virgin Diaries.
No.
No.
Jane the Virgin.
Jane the Virgin. Yep. I mixed up Vampire Diaries.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
Jane the
I think
Virgin.
I watched Virgin Diaries on HBO at night one time.
And Brittany
Lakeith
Snow
Stanfield
is
is in
her-
this movie.
Is he? You know what Lakeith Stanfield is also in? Everything. You know what he's good in, Kyle? Everything.
Everything. Wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
so
Damn.
Gina Rodriguez.
Did you say Jennifer Snow?
Brittany Snow.
I'm sorry, Brittany. So she's the
She's
beautiful redhead from Pitch Perfect who gets nodes, right?
Yes, she's like the
Or noids.
the
Noids? No, nodes.
Nodes, I think. She's like the classic best friend.
Yeah.
So the reason
She
why
feels like a good rom-com best friend.
Yeah, she really is. So this movie, like I said, is a Netflix original. It's super millennial, very trendy. And the only reason why I put this movie on the list was because I feel like all of the songs on the soundtrack are kind of like the voice of our current generation. Like
Ooh.
you watch this movie, listen to the soundtrack, and you would say, oh my God, this took place in 2019. Absolutely. Like there's no question.
Which can either be a really positive or a really negative thing, and it sounds like in this case it was positive.
Yeah, so just a little bit of like the storyline since no one really knows. So the main character is Gina Rodriguez. Her long-term boyfriend dumps her because
Damn.
she like landed her dream job at Rolling Stone, which is in San Francisco.
And he was afraid of her success. Typical man.
Pretty much, but they live in New York. So the movie is basically start to finish her final day in New York. She just got dumped and she's like living it up before she moves.
It's a great rom-com premise.
Yeah, it's in like the movie is kind of told through music as well. So every single scene is kind of like tied in with a song, whether it's like they're, dancing in their kitchen to Lizzo, like trying to feel happy after she got broken up with, or it's like she's reminiscing about a memory with her and her boyfriend and like a sad, like melancholy Vampire Weekend song is playing. Like it's just really, really well done. And I feel like every single scene you're like, oh, like, especially as a 20-something-year-old girl, I'm like, I can picture myself listening to this song, experiencing these emotions with my friends in New York. Like, it's just such like a quintessential, I don't know, like 2019 movie. It's so great.
I like when the characters can hear the music that you can hear. I think that's fun. It doesn't happen very often.
It takes a little bit of clever writing to make that actually make sense.
Yeah. Oh, and to your point, Mike, like there's something cool about movies that you rewatch and you're like, oh, this could be literally any time. Or conversely, like there's something equally as great about a movie that could only have taken place in a very specific instance in time.
Right.
Yeah. There's a film that I don't know, and I won't mention it by name because Caroline has seen it, but only once, and she might not remember it. But that may or may not appear on this list. But that's a film that takes place in a very particular year, and I do know that the writer and director was like extremely strict about making sure that no song was on the soundtrack that didn't come out like at a time that the characters would be listening to it. I think we both heard this on an interview on the Bill Simmons podcast, and that was really cool, and it really added to the film in that way because it really set the stage. But in other films can be a little intrusive sometimes. And it can also be really cool when a movie uses music that makes no sense at the time. Like the scene in and there's two that come to mind immediately. One is the Rick Ross scene in Django, but the other one that I think is even better is the cat people scene in Inglourious Bastards, when Shoshana is putting on her lipstick and she's getting ready to go to the cinema for the final showdown, and all of a sudden David Bowie starts playing, and it's just epic.
I thought you were going to say Knight's Tale, but
yeah,
that's an even better example.
Yeah, We Will Rock You in A Knight's Tale is an all-timer.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
sorry, we ended on
you really derailed
Knight's
that.
Tale with that.
This is not, you guys.
Sorry, not our pod. Our
Not your
bad.
pod.
All right.
This is my pod, not your pod. Get your own pod.
Get your own pods. These are my slices. Get your own slices.
Okay, so just back to the soundtrack real quick. Some highlight artists include Lizzo, Lorde, Vampire Weekend, Robin, Outkast, Frank Ocean, Haim. So some of my personal favorites. I definitely give the album a listen. I definitely watch the movie. It's really similar to Always Be My Maybe.
I liked that movie a lot. That was on our Top Screws list for last year.
Just like a classic feel-good Netflix original. Nothing like it.
They are really taking up a lot of space on that corner.
And they get it. I think they get what you're looking for. And
Yeah.
it sounds like this movie is precisely what you were looking for.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So that is my number 8.
Well, Carolyn, that brings us to a very important moment in the pod.
Hey, can you cue those stanky beats for us?
Oh my, Kevin.
Wow.
Nice work. We're going to have to light one of our 5,000 candles in this apartment.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, we have
That
a lot
stank
of candles.
was 2 years in the making.
It sure was. That was 2 years in the making. We have a lot of candles in this apartment, but no matches. I think that they're on the shortage list. We're waiting for them.
Okay.
All right, let her rip, baby.
Wait, is this where I mention honorable mentions or not tops? I forget. I'm sorry.
Damn it.
I'm sorry.
Not top.
Okay. Oh, man, it's been a while. I told you I haven't made a list since 2017.
Yeah. Excuses.
All
Not
right.
tops.
So my not tops, it was really hard to think of movie soundtracks that are like bad.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird
So
one.
instead of having my not tops be bad soundtracks, they are soundtracks that did not fit within my rules. So I have a couple of just best original soundtracks.
Mm-hmm.
These are just top 6 that popped into my head. You know, there is probably a ton more that I'm not thinking of, but you know, that's not that list. These are just a couple. So we've got Sound of Music. We've got La La Land. We've got Stars Born. We've got Beauty and the Beast, and we've got Black Panther. Any else you can think of off the top of your head?
I think it's interesting because we had a couple of musicals in there. So I think they're a little bit of their own thing. I think Star is Born has probably I think arguably the best original song in film history, and probably the best original song in a movie, like that actually comes from the plot of the movie itself. And Black Panther is one of the is I would say probably the best rap original album of all time. Like, I don't know a movie that had a better accompanying hip hop album.
So why does Black Panther not count again?
Because it's all original music for the
Yeah.
movie. So it's not like a compilation of songs that were already released. It's a little... So Caroline, we're actually... for those who are listening now, we cut out a reference I made earlier in the pod to this. But Black Panther is interesting because it has a score by Ludwig Göransson. But it also...
Which is great.
It's great. But it also has Kendrick Lamar produced an album... of original music that goes along with the film.
Okay. In that case, one that I will talk about, because there's like 1 or 2 songs that are songs that were just put on this, but the majority of the songs on this album were created for the movie, is the Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack, which is like one of the greatest albums of the last couple of years, in my opinion.
Great call. That's a terrific call.
And most of those songs were made for
Yeah,
the movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That soundtrack is incredible.
Wow.
And similar to Black Panther, has its own theatrical like composition score as well. As far as other soundtracks, I listen to a lot of soundtrack music, but mostly the instrumental stuff, so I don't know.
Same.
I got one for us. Crazy Heart. So that one also violates the rule in that the music is for the movie and it's actually within the plot of the movie. But T-Bone Burnett produced that album, and it's performed mostly by Jeff Bridges. There's some Colin Farrell on there. There's a Robert Duvall song on there. It's just actually an excellent country album. Really, really well done. It doesn't fit the rules of this pod, but it's an excellent soundtrack to a great movie.
Very good.
Yeah. Do you have any other ones you're thinking of?
I don't think so.
I mean, there's the whole musical genre, which I'm not particularly well versed in, but
Yeah.
I'm sure we could think of some. I mean, I don't know. The Wizard of Oz would be one if that's, that violates the rules, but which has an excellent soundtrack.
Oh, how about Once? That would fit on this, right?
Oh.
Huge oversight
Yeah,
on
huge
my part.
oversight. Totally doesn't fit the rules of the bigger part of the list, but yeah, that's probably number one for us,
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
We're all what do they call us? Like, you know how people who like Glee are called Gleeks? Like, do we have a name? Those of us in the Once fan club?
Broadway.
Maybe they call
babies.
us twice or thrice because we've seen it so many times.
Oh, hey.
All right. Hey, shut up, Dylan. You suck.
I don't know about that, Mike.
That was Dylan's fault. I've
Yeah,
also been
Dylan,
spending
get
a
out
lot of time in the house, so my brain is starting to turn to mush.
Yeah. So I think that kind of concludes the not tops.
Yeah.
So I guess I can move on to number 7.
All right.
Let her rip.
All right. So
I just looked at the list. Good pick.
number 7, we have Almost Famous.
Ah.
So this movie came out in 2001, but of course it takes place like late 60s, early 70s. So all of the music is kind of from that time period.
Yep.
So some fun facts, some critical notes. So the Almost Famous soundtrack was awarded the 2001 Grammy Award for Best Compilation Soundtrack Album.
Wow.
Yep.
I didn't know that was a Grammy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't
Fitting
either.
for this.
Yeah, that is.
Found that on the internet, so someone might have to fact check me.
No,
'cause it came
it's
from
fine.
Wikipedia.
Critical
but-
notes, baby.
Yeah, critical notes.
The internet's always correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
So, just some highlight artists from this album include Simon Garfunkel, The Who, Beach Boys, Elton John. Which brings me to my favorite scene of the movie is when they're all on the tour bus and they start singing, doing a sing-along to Tiny Dancer. And it's right when William starts following the band along and he's kind of like out of his comfort zone and he doesn't know what's going on. And like at that moment, you're kind of like, oh, he's kind of found his place and he's feeling his groove with the band. And it's just kind of like a pivotal moment in the movie, but really, really fun.
What's the name of the band in that movie? It's something really stupid. It's like Southern Motorboat or something. It's like it sounds like something that Andy would come up with. Yeah, this is a great pick though. And also, I'm sure people know this, but it's like a true.
Do you want me to tell you the name or?
Yeah. What is it?
Stillwater.
Stillwater.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It's kind of a
true story.
yeah. It's cool because it's like it's a semi-autobiographical story of Cameron Crowe's life, which is just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know who was the real band. Is that Zeppelin? I'm assuming that's
I think it was based off of like a couple different
okay.
bands. I read that today actually.
I don't know why I had Credence in my head. That might not be true.
I mean, it sounds like it.
Based on
Yeah.
his experience touring with bands Poco, the Allman Brothers Band, Led Zeppelin, the Eagles, and Leonard Skinner.
Leonard Skinner. Yeah, that all makes
Leonard
sense.
Skinner.
The Eagle. That's a good.
Right.
That's a good group. The Allman
Yeah.
Brothers, Led Zeppelin, Eagles, Leonard Skinner, and I don't know who Poco is, but the others are great.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's an awesome movie. The music really adds to that
so
film.
good.
Like that's one that really uses its soundtrack so well.
I own that movie and I've never seen it. I should watch it. Especially now that
Really?
I've got some time on my hands.
Oh,
Yeah.
you totally should. Dr. Manhattan is the main character in the big rock star in the movie. Got young Kate
Billy
Hudson.
Crudup?
Yeah, Billy Crudup. Kate Hudson is in it. I want to say, I might be making this up now because it's been a while since we've seen it. Is Philip Seymour Hoffman in that movie? He's in everything at that time. Even if he's not, it's a great movie, great cast. You would really like it, and the soundtrack is fantastic.
I'm here for it.
Good pick, Linus.
Thanks.
No.
All right, so number 6 is an extremely biased pick because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Number 6 is The Parent Trap.
Oh my god, yes!
That's got a great soundtrack.
This soundtrack is bumping. So
I
it's
got a couple
like,
already.
So some highlight songs is "This Will Be." We've got
Wait,
How bizarre.
before you go, I want you to tell us what's happening in each of these because these associate
Right.
really strongly with scenes for me.
so oh shoot. This will be I think that's like the either the beginning or no, it's the end, I think.
I think it's the end.
That's the end.
Yeah.
How Bizarre. I don't remember How Bizarre. I remember it being in the movie now, but I don't remember what the scene was.
We've got Here Comes the Sun.
Oh,
We've
of course.
got-
That's when she's in London, right? That's when she
Yeah.
arrives in London.
We've got There She Goes.
Yep.
Or that, I'm sorry, that's in London, right?
That's
They
when she's
both
in the
are.
car
Yeah.
Yeah, like
and the
looking
statue
out.
winks at her.
Yeah. Yes.
And then she pulls up to her house. Oh man.
Oh, come on. You're missing. I'm looking at your thing right now. Don't forget Bad to the Bone.
Oh, when they're playing,
cards. Yeah.
Oh,
Poker.
such a good one.
Oh, it's so good.
Or just the song that plays when they're doing the handshake. The da-na-na-na-na.
So that's
Dun,
my
dun,
best.
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, so that's my best
Bow,
scene.
bow, bow.
Which I think you hear that song and it instantly transports
Oh
you
my
to
god,
the handshake
instantly.
Yeah.
Yep.
between Annie and Martin.
Yep.
And
My
then,
Danny, yo butler.
yeah, so just like one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yep.
Just like brings me right back to childhood. Like any single one of those songs just will transport you. So
I'm with you.
What a great pick. I would not
Simple
have thought
pleasure.
of that.
Yeah, that's deserving. That's a really eclectic soundtrack because I think a lot of these films will end up, understandably, with like a pretty sort of tightly themed soundtrack. But this is kind of all over the place in
Yeah.
a way that's really fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
excellent. All right, should we move on to number 5?
Please
All right,
Yeah.
so
keeping us on task. This is nice. This is good to have somebody who's a little more organized than us.
keeping it efficient. Okay, so number 5 is the only Christmas album that is on this
Last
list.
Christmas with Amelia Clark and Henry
Oh
Golding.
man, should have been.
Great.
No, number
Die
5 is
Hard.
of course Elf. Elf
This is a great
has
soundtrack.
the perfect Christmas soundtrack. A lot of the songs and artists are kind of off the beaten Christmas path, which is really nice. It's very refreshing. Also, there's just so, like, you hear these songs and you're, again, like The Parent Trap, you're transported to the scenes. So, of course, when the song Pennies from Heaven is playing and Buddy is experiencing New York City for the first time, and he's, like,
That's the
jumping
best.
across the crosswalk and, like, picking the gum off of the railings and, like, running through.
Shooby-dooby!
Yeah, exactly. See? Congratulations, world's best cup of coffee. You did it. So yeah, I wanted to diversify the list a little bit, and I think Christmas music really just did that. So
That's a great pick. And I think you're right that this could easily have gone in many different Christmas film directions, but I think this is the right one.
yeah. Also, we've got a little Zooey Deschanel cover of "Baby It's Cold Outside" when she's singing in the shower. Which, why is she taking a shower at the department store? I still don't really understand.
She's poor, Caroline.
They shut
But,
off
like,
her
do
water.
department stores have showers?
My work has a shower, actually.
A lot of places of business have showers.
All right. Well,
Get out of your ivory tower. Or as Michael Scott, your ivory tower and your ebony tower.
all right. So that's number 5.
Yeah, great. I really like that. I'm glad that we got a Christmas film, and I think you totally nailed it on the pick.
Thanks.
Yeah, you did, because you're right. Like, there are so many Christmas movies that technically fit this list because they have a curated playlist of Christmas songs, but this is one that kind of goes off the normal path for Christmas music, and as a result is extremely memorable for its music when a lot of Christmas movies are not. So,
Yeah.
well done again, Caroline. Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Excellent work.
Thank you. All right. So number 4, I think we're at.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
number
right.
4. I also haven't seen this movie in quite some time, but made the list. This movie is 1996's hit Space Jam.
So I just want to share a little behind the scenes for the listeners. So I was sitting in a chair about 3 feet from here while Caroline was sitting over here earlier this evening. And she was, I guess, just reviewing the list. And all of a sudden I heard, dun, 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 dun. Y'all ready for this? Dun, 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 dun. And I was like, and I looked over and I was like, is Space Jam on the list? And she's like,
And I love Space
and I
Jam.
love Space Jam.
And then you heard do 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 do, and you knew it.
Yeah, then I was sure.
So yeah, so this album has so many hits. I pretty much know this because I have a vivid memory of having the CD and have it being stuck in my dad's CD player in his truck.
That's amazing.
So we listened to this quite a few times. So critical notes. This album sold enough copies to be certified as 6 times platinum.
That's incredible.
And I believe I Can Fly was made for this movie. However, it earned R. Kelly's 2 Grammys because it boosted recognition of this song so much. Not that I would want to.
Well, whatever.
You know,
well, yeah.
Right.
He's canceled now. But
He's canceled, but hey,
At the time, though,
no.
good to know. Yeah, so
shoot until you miss, son.
We've got "Fly Like an Eagle" by Seal. We've got "I Believe I Can Fly."
Wait,
We've
Fly
got
Like an Eagle by Seal?
Yeah.
Isn't that by the Steve Miller Band?
That's what I thought.
Oh,
Yeah,
maybe.
I think you're mixing it up a little bit. That's the
Maybe
Steve
mixing
Miller
up my
Band.
list.
But I want to do a quick Steve Miller Band note because I heard "Fly Like an Eagle" in the car. "Fly Like an Eagle" by Seal?
The butt?
What? Hold on, hit play. Listeners, put it in the microphone.
Sorry.
Wait, is this like Seal as in Seal?
This is the only "Fly Like an Eagle" I know.
Weird. Hip pause. All right, listeners, we've probably stolen enough of that music. Damn, I'm gonna have to listen to that later because Seal's got a sexy ass voice. No, that's a song by the Steve Miller Band.
Oh, who knew?
Originally.
And I heard that in Father Bob's car on the way to a baseball game one time.
Wow.
Yeah, true story from college.
What?
Yep, we were driving over to that weird ass field where we played intramural baseball, and
I remember.
yeah, and Steve Miller Band came on, and I was like, "What is happening in this car right now?"
All right.
Yeah, and of course, it brought us Space Jam. Everybody
Yeah.
get up.
It's time to jam now. Do your dance to the
Yeah.
Space Jam. All right. Hey, ladies!
Yeah!
Oh man, that is basically a perfect film and basically a perfect
Yeah,
album. Do you want
it's
to
so
watch
good.
Space Jam?
Yeah, I
It's
do.
been a while.
I
I think
know.
we should watch Space Jam.
Cool.
I love Space Jam.
So that's number 4.
Oh, I just saw number
All right.
3. Do you want to do honorable mentions now or after?
I only have one honorable mention.
Let it rip now then.
Sure. So my
Do
honorable
it.
mention is another like hilarious personal favorite from my childhood, and that is of course the Lizzie McGuire movie.
Oh.
Um,
Wait, does that count?
why not?
Isn't that all made for the movie?
No, it was just
This is
No.
what Dreams Are
What
Made Of?
Dreams Are Made Of. That's the only.
What real songs are in that?
We've got a couple Dean Martin songs.
That
We've
RuPaul song.
got,
Oh yeah, you're right about that.
Cover
Good
Girl?
call.
well, yeah.
Work.
Work, girl.
Come on, girl.
Girl. Give
Oh.
it twerk.
Give it a
You know,
twirl.
can I just say, there's only one person on this earth that I can picture listening to that song without laughing, and
Miata.
it's Cameron.
Yeah.
Only person.
Yes, we've got some RuPaul. We've got some Hilary Duff pre-Lizzie McGuire movie.
Why not?
We've got The Tide is High by Atomic Kitten. That's a
But I'm
That's a
holding on.
great
Good song.
I am holding
We've
on.
got Shining Star by Jump 5.
Oh,
Yeah.
Juliet by LMNT.
oh my god.
You Make Me Feel Like a Star by the Bow Sisters. RuPaul. And then some Dean Martin on Evening in Roma and Volare.
Volare. Ooh.
And I believe Avril Lavigne did a cover of
Martin.
Volare too for the movie, which was
Wow.
excellent. Or no, who's the girl who sings the graduation song? Vitamin C.
Oh my god.
Vitamin C did a
Wow.
cover of Volare for the Lizzie McGuire movie.
Can confirm all of these things are coming directly out of Caroline's ass.
Yeah. So I don't know if I need. Yeah. No, I know it's true.
I remember-
I'm kidding.
I remember Aaron got this soundtrack on CD when we were youths, and like she listened to it a lot, and I happened to be in the room when it was
Right.
on.
Just of course,
Just
as
happened
that happens,
to.
same thing with me in Dawson's Creek. It just happened to be in the
so
room.
I'm quite intimately familiar with that soundtrack, and yet wouldn't have thought of it for this list. So
Yeah.
Caroline again slaying it.
Excellent work.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. So that brings us back to the main list. We've got number 3 coming in hot. So number 3 is a movie that I was just blessed to watch for the first time last weekend.
Can you just sing the song? Come on, the one song. Come on,
I'm not gonna sing.
come on, just sing
It's
it.
on, no, but I mentioned it in my description.
Ah,
Okay. So number 3 is of course Boogie Nights,
Oh
which
man,
I know you guys both know and love quite well. So I didn't really know what to expect going into seeing this movie. I had no idea what. Actually, I did know one song from the soundtrack, and that is Brand New Key by Melanie.
But
Because
what she didn't.
what I didn't know was what was happening during that scene, which was quite interesting.
I was very interested.
I'm sure you were, Roller Man. We also decided that we want to take up roller skating, or
Yeah.
at least I'm going to take up roller skating.
That's your takeaway.
And I
Boogie
feel like
Nights?
Yes.
I feel like Ben Wyatt. Just picture Milady on the roller skates.
Oh my god. So yeah, overall, I think I expressed my opinions about this movie. I'd give the first 70% of the movie an A+, the middle portion a B-, and then the end an A+. I got kind of bored in the middle, and I thought it was a little dark and scary.
Really, really sad. But you get to see our boy Dirk Diggler's big old penis at the end, so it's
You
worth
sure
the wait.
Right, exactly.
Much like this podcast.
100%. Exactly. Kyle, you get it. You get what the people are looking for.
Overall, this soundtrack was incredible. The
Yeah.
entire time watching the movie, I was dancing in my seat. From start to finish. We've got
Wait, can I so you were just saying about the dancing in that.
Yeah.
I think every single song on this soundtrack, it fits so magnificently with every scene. Like I had mentioned to you, and I know Kyle knows this too, but Paul Thomas Anderson was writing this movie when he was a teenager. This is his magnum opus. This is like his joy of his life was to write this movie, and it's so obvious in every scene how happy he was that he got to make this movie the way he wanted, and the song choices of every scene fits that. Like every scene is exactly the right song playing behind it.
Yeah, so just some song highlights. We've got Best of My Love. We've got Afternoon Delight. We've got You Sexy Thing.
Sexy thing. Is
We've
that
got-
Cool in the Gang? I think that's Cool in the Gang. Keep going. That's fine.
We've got some ELO,
Oh,
Everyone's
sure do.
favorite
Kyle,
artist.
well, everyone but Dylan's, but Kyle and I do love ELO. It's
Don't bring me down, Dylan.
Don't bring me down, Dill. We got some Beach Boys. God
Beach
only
Boys,
knows.
Yep. We've got Sister Christian, of course,
Oh,
which I was blessed to listen to 5 times on the way home from
Yeah.
New Hampshire last weekend in the car.
yeah. I mean,
I couldn't do anything. I couldn't talk. I couldn't be on the phone. I had to listen to him sing the song to me.
you're
It's
welcome.
very romantic.
You're very welcome.
Wow, that's sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a
do
movie
what I
moment
can.
right there.
that
Yeah.
sure is.
Yeah. So that's my number 3.
Yeah, it's a great number
All right.
3. All right.
All right. Shall I move on to number 2?
God only
Yeah.
knows what
right,
I'd be
so,
without you.
Number 2 is quite a famous movie. Everyone I hope, has seen it. Number 2 is Forrest Gump.
Mm.
So this soundtrack, I did a little bit of research before putting together this list of just best movie soundtracks in general.
Mhm.
Ignored a lot of the advice that I received from these lists. However, Forrest Gump appeared on pretty much all of them, pretty close to the top of the list. And at the time, I couldn't really think of any specific songs besides there's the Elvis song. There's
Some CCR on that, right?
yeah, there's some. I mean, and then I looked up the album and I was like, oh, every single song is amazing.
It's a very lengthy album.
Yeah, so there's 32 songs on this
my God.
album.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really cool. I guess the director picked songs from each decade that was obviously featured in the movie.
Oh, cool.
So it was really well curated to fit exactly what was going on at the time. And also every single artist that was featured on the soundtrack is from the United States. So it's very
Wow.
Americana album.
Is there any Janis Joplin on this?
I don't know, but it feels like there should
I
be.
don't know. All right. Well, I'm just asking questions.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of very representative music from those eras on
Yes.
this list. And
Yes.
most of these songs are pretty famous.
Exactly.
Definitely some Skinnerd.
Yeah, so we've got
Yes.
some Elvis Presley, we got some Creedence Clearwater Revival, I got Aretha Franklin, Leonard Skinner, Three Dog Night,
Jackson Brown,
Beach
Oh, hey,
Boys,
fight through it, Jackson Brown.
The
I'll
Doors,
pull 'em for you,
The
buddy.
Doors, Bob
Simon
Seger,
and
The
Garfunkel.
Supremes.
Yeah. So
Dude, wait, what was the Doors song in this?
Break on through to the other side.
Was it?
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
That was-
Kyle, if you were to tell me how you feel about me, is there anything you would say to me specifically about your fire and who lights it?
Anywho, yeah, so the best scene, I think, from this movie that really ties in the soundtrack is at the very beginning when Elvis is a house guest at Forrest Gump's house, and he teaches him, or he plays the hound dog, and since he's in his like leg braces, he can't really dance, so he's like doing the hip thrusters, and like according to the movie, that's like how Elvis like learned how to dance, was from Forrest. So just like a really clever way to like weave in the song and pop culture into like the plot of the movie. Very well done.
That's that whole movie basically.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, great pick. What's the song that plays when he's running? It's not Against the Wind by Bob Seger, is it?
No.
What's the I'm trying to remember. It's something really fitting, but I can't remember now.
That song is in the movie.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember what he's actually... I don't know. Unanswerable questions that could probably be answered pretty easily, but we don't want to spend our time Googling.
Fair enough.
All right, Linus, do you want to give us number one?
All right, the moment we've all been waiting for.
It's got to be, right? It's got to be.
It has to be. I'm going to type it in right now.
Wait, before you even say it, I want to say what I think is so cool about the album you're about to say is that the songs are deep cuts. Like a lot of these albums are such big hits, and they're really well curated lists of hits. But damn, This Next Baby is a hell of a collection of like deep tracks.
Well, I hope that you're guessing right.
We're guessing right. Come on. Give the people
So number one is my all-time favorite movie. It is 500 Days of Summer.
All right, good.
I had the poster to this movie hanging in my college dorm room. I had the album as a CD before, iPods became a thing. So this movie came out in 2009. So I was a freshman in high school. Freshman or
you sure were, girl. Oh.
God, you're gross. So I was a freshman in high school, and I just remember watching this movie, and it was the first time that I saw...
Oh, even when we watched it together for the first time? I just found out, like, last week that the first time Caroline watched this movie wasn't with me. I thought that when we watched it together, we had this great experience of seeing it together. False. Wrong.
Yeah. So I was an impressionable 14-year-old girl. This movie was the first movie that I watched that like didn't have a perfect happy ending that I wasn't like upset with. Like I remember watching this movie and like the ending is, I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it.
Yeah, you can spoil it. People should have seen it
Whatever. By now. But I just remember like thinking it was so perfect even though it wasn't. And I think that was the first time I had ever had that experience while watching a movie or reading a book.
And I think that was precisely the point, and
exactly
a good testament to their execution, that they could make somebody who really wanted a perfect happy ending to not get it and be satisfied with not getting it.
Yeah. But back to the soundtrack specifically. So the reason why this is number one is just because I think it did such an amazing job at really enhancing the storyline using music. And it like perfectly captured like every emotion that the characters were going through. And I think that like the songs like carried those emotions with the viewer like way after the movie. Like I listened to any of those songs and I feel the emotions that Tom was feeling, and I like feel the joy that they were feeling on that like happy day. So
Sweet Disposition specifically.
Yeah, so
all of these songs.
I'm not gonna highlight one of my favorite moments. I'm just gonna go through a couple. So
every song in this is just perfect.
Yeah. So of course, You Make My Dreams. The little montage that plays after they spend the night together for the first time, and Tom is dancing around the park. Yes, exactly, just like that. Playing with all of like the cartoon,
cartoon
woodland creatures.
The ball bat when he swings.
And like the flash mob
Han
that
Solo.
breaks out. Oh, it's
The marching
so
band.
good. So good. Another moment is when Hero by Regina Spektor plays. And it's the scene where after they break up and Tom goes to Summer's party thinking that they're going to get back together. And it's like the mirror images of like what he thinks is going to happen. Expectations versus reality. And like the line is like, no one's got it all. And like that's just how it ends. And it like fades to black. Oh, it's so heart-wrenching.
Suffering. So much suffering.
Yes.
Suffering.
As you mentioned, Sweet Disposition, which is kind of the song that like started all. Like that's the classic like movie montage song that like really like encapsulates my favorite genre.
Yeah. You are the temper trap lady.
Yeah. A couple more when he's singing "Here Comes Your Man" at karaoke. And then another really fun scene that I like is in the elevator when they first meet and he's listening to the Smiths song and she's next to him and he's
What's
like,
he listening to? There is
to
a light.
die by your side is such a heavenly way.
Oh.
And he's like, oh, what? And it's kind of cool because it was a Smith song that like they kind of first bonded over, and then throughout the movie like there's some other Smith songs that play and kind of tie it all together, which is really well done. But yeah, also while browsing the interwebs, I can't take credit for this thought, but I saw like a blog somewhere that kind of made note that they also weave it into the story, like Tom always wears like band t-shirts, or when you see like a snippet from Summer's yearbook, it's like a quote from a Belle and Sebastian song. And like they always like are having arguments over the Beatles and
nobody loves Ringo Starr.
Exactly. So even like aside from the soundtrack, like music is such like an integral part of this movie.
Great. That's a great thing to remember. I'm now remembering the fight. Like, that's actually one of my favorite movie fights of all time.
Right.
When they're having the fight in the record store about Ringo.
Yeah.
Because it's, like, so... I think it's just so, like, evocative of the petty bullshit that makes you fight with somebody. Like, when you and I fight at this point in our relationship, it's not about things that are really fundamental to each other's person. Because I think, you know, generally speaking, we're both pretty good with that. It's just stupid little shit like that. Like, that's the kind of thing that people who have had a long history together fight about.
That's what I like about that movie so much, is that, like, it really gets to what a relationship can be like when you get past, like, the honeymoon phase.
Yep.
And the music is just, an instrumental part of that.
Good one, Dylan. Dylan has made several guest appearances on this pod.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, this was always going to be number one.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm glad you guys agree.
Yeah. No, and there's no, even if this were either of our lists, I think this would probably be number one.
Wow.
I mean, I think it's got all of the qualities that make a great soundtrack. You know, it fits with the movie. It's perfectly curated in terms of like length and variety of music. And it's also, you know, kind of a good platform to discover music, because I think a lot of the artists who are featured in film soundtracks like this don't really need a boost. Like Elton John, you know, yes, it's great that Tiny Dancer was featured in Almost Famous, but that's more a feather in his cap. But I think a lot of people needed to discover the Pixies or the Smiths, and this was a really cool way to discover some of the more accessible music of those less accessible bands.
No doubt.
Yeah. Kyle, I've got a couple I want to rattle off that I don't think need to be on the list, but I think I just want to mention. Most of them are pretty rocky. Remember the Titans has got some great music. That's got some James Taylor. It's got some CCR. That's a great 70s rock album. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has a great soundtrack. That's kind of all over the place. But the one that I keep listening to is the Neil Diamond Brother Whatever's Traveling Revival. I don't even remember what it's called, but you know the one. There was one other one I mentioned to you earlier, Caroline, that I said I wanted to mention.
Remember the Titans.
And I just said that. You were texting
no,
at the
I know.
time.
That was when you said that.
Remember the Titans, that one? It'll come back to me. Those are two that I think
I can think of one I'm surprised you're not mentioning.
Yeah, mention it. Maybe it's the one I'm thinking of.
Like Goodfellas or The Departed? Like any kind of Scorsese thing?
No, but that's a good one. Goodfellas. I would have to, if you're going to do a Scorsese, it's got to be Goodfellas, though, because after Goodfellas, he just reuses the same songs over and over and over and over and over again. So yeah, Goodfellas is a good pick. What the hell am I thinking of? I was just thinking of it earlier today. You go. Do you have any others? Oh, wait, I got it. American Hustle. Sorry, American Hustle. That was the one. That's got Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. That's got Delilah by Tom Jones. That's fantastic.
It's got Long Black Road by ELO. That was what I was kind of serious about.
Yeah, sorry. American Hustle is very legit in terms of great soundtracks. Continue.
That's an incredible one. I had a couple others. One that I don't think counts because it's only a few songs, I think. Mm-hmm. Did either of you see Jojo Rabbit?
No, we still haven't seen that, actually.
Let's add that.
Yeah, that was our only one.
You have to buy it on Amazon.
Yeah, we're going to have to look for alternate ways to get it. We'll have to do www.freemovies.europe.latvia.com.
Well, you're not going to want to miss this one, and don't be alarmed if you start to hear popular songs that you know, but they're in German. That is supposed to be that way.
Oh, popular songs of the 40s, like 30s and 40s, or popular songs from today?
No, so like Heroes by David Bowie, but in German.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Der Helding. I Want to Hold Your Hand by the Beatles. There's a couple of other songs. Yeah. Obviously 99 Red Balloons. Like there's it's just like popular modern music, but in German, and it's really fucking cool.
Taika is just a gem.
Unfortunately, it's not a full soundtrack, so I don't think it would quite count, but I listen to the German version of Heroes every day, I think, at this point. So, highly recommend. 2 animated movies that have great soundtracks. One is Megamind. Just like power rock.
Yep.
Just a lot of power rock ballads that fit very well with Megamind's
personality. Does that have Back in Black in it?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of AC/DC.
Yeah.
But also a good smattering of ELO too. So obviously a big soundtrack for me.
Everyone's favorite band. I was just giving Caroline.
But nobody knows.
Right. I was just giving Caroline our theory that everyone's favorite band is ELO and they just didn't know it.
Yeah. A shockingly great album is Shrek.
Yes. Shrek.
Oh,
it's got.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That was a
that should like
oversight.
Maybe legitimately be on the list.
Oh yeah. Oh my god,
I'm pretty serious about it. It's got Bad Reputation. It's got I'm a Believer.
Yeah.
Wow, I am
All-Star.
so upset with myself. We were just listening to the Shrek soundtrack.
Yeah, and don't forget, of course, Hallelujah.
Yep. So I'm somewhat serious about Shrek.
Yeah, no, that's legit. That should be on the list.
2 more. One is Watchmen. It's not for everybody. But Watchmen has a fantastic
Times They Are Changing playing over that funeral at the beginning is one of the best movie montages I've ever seen.
That's what I completely agree. Simon and Garfunkel, Sound of Silence during the funeral in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, a lot of people died in that movie.
It's pretty dark.
Yeah, Sound of Silence in that is so perfect.
Desolation Row. Like, there's a lot of really fucking good music on that soundtrack.
And then, of course, the trailer music, the end is the beginning is the end is the beginning or whatever by Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, exactly. Big fan of that one. I don't know if it belongs on the list, but I love that one.
No, but that's a legitimately excellent soundtrack.
Yeah. A soundtrack that is recent and silly, but I own the actual CD, and it was like one of the only CDs I had in my car during college, so I listened to it a lot, the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack, which is just full of bangers.
So
that should probably be on
that came up in my list a lot, or in my research a lot. However, I've never seen it.
Okay,
so couldn't put it on my list.
Caroline, you should watch it.
Yeah,
and close your fucking eyes. Like, don't even watch. Just listen to it.
I've listened to the soundtrack before, and so I guess it's time to watch the movie.
Yeah.
It's also just I think you'll enjoy the movie.
It's got some big Andy energy in it.
It's got Bowie. It's got ELO.
Sure does have ELO, baby.
Yeah, it's got all kinds. Yeah, so that's one that if you had seen it, I'd think would belong high. But since you haven't, we'll ignore it. I think that the ones I'm serious about are American Hustle and Shrek.
I think Shrek should go like reasonably high.
Shrek's gotta get on the list.
So I think we dump Dirty Dancing and Someone Great.
I'm okay with Dirty Dancing.
I haven't seen Someone Great, so I can't speak to it.
We can dump it.
I think it would be...
We can move it to
Although Caroline hasn't seen American Hustle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so forget it.
All right, so forget it. We're just going to agree
Okay.
that American Hustle soundtrack is incredible. Let's just dump Dirty Dancing.
Yep.
And then do you want to move Shrek up to number 4
Yep.
and just move everything back one?
Yep.
Kyle?
Cool. I think that makes a lot of sense.
All right, Linus, do you want to recap us, baby girl?
Sure thing.
You want me to call you babe? Hey,
Wow.
babe.
Ew,
Hey.
no.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like that one bit.
Yeah, I don't either.
Okay. So
A lot of togetherness, Kyle.
So thank you guys for hearing my list and rigorously debating it with me.
Skip the platitudes and recap the list.
All right, here we go. Number 10, Perks of Being a Wallflower. Number 9, Someone Great. Number 8, Almost Famous. Number 7, Parent Trap. Number 6, Elf. Number 5, Space Jam. Number 4, Shrek. Number 3, Boogie Nights. Number 2, Forrest Gump. And number 1, 500 Days of Summer.
Killed it.
I'm speechless. That was so good. Thank you for putting this list together and giving it that attention to detail. I'm very, very, very excited to start listening to all this music. I think we should get a Spotify playlist together as soon as we possibly can.
I'm on
And I
it.
think your next order of business after that is to come up with another list because you're really good at it. And I think it's silly that we waited 2 years to have you on for 2 different podcasts.
Especially because she does live very close to one of the co-hosts
Very,
of this
Right.
very podcast.
very
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Arguably
Wow.
too close. Yeah, wonderful job, Linus.
Thanks, guys. I'm very happy with my list.
Yeah, you should be. All right, Kyle.
I think everyone will be.
They will be. Let's take it away, K-Dog. What do you got?
Oh, yeah. Well, usually at this point of the podcast, I do some thank yous. The first one always goes to Kevin MacLeod,
Yes.
who we
thank
do
you,
not
Kevin.
know,
We do not know
but whose
him.
music we have used for our intro and not top 3 music. And you heard it yourself. It's stanky as shit.
Yeah,
so
Stankalicious.
thank you, Kevin.
Yep.
And
Do
then
you know
right
what his
after I
favorite
do
band
that,
is, Kyle?
Yellow.
Hoobastang. Thanks, Dylan. You know what his favorite Outcast album is? Stankonia. Thank you, Dylan.
Mike, what's his favorite Soulja Boy song?
Oh, girl, you stank. Take a bath.
That's right.
You know his favorite soccer player is Stankovic. What else you got? Let's go.
Who's his favorite St. Louis Cardinal of all time? No, that's
Rick
not Stank.
Stankiel.
That's just,
Rick Stankiel.
That's just Stankiel. I was gonna say Stank Musial. It's not. It's too far
Rick.
gone.
It's Rick Stankiel, also a Cardinal. Let's go.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you, Kevin. We do not know anything about Kevin's music
No.
taste. Usually, then after that, I will say thanks to my sister Erin because she put our podcast art together. You've seen how good it is. If you want to see more of her fantastic artwork, Sant Design at Instagram is the place to do that.
Damn right. And I would like to thank our delightful social media coordinator / co-host today, my fiancée, Caroline Labranti. Caroline is in charge of our main social media platform, our Instagram, which you can find at top10km. The 10 is spelled out TEN. She's been popping off with some good content lately. If you want to reach out to us in another way, you can check out our email, which is top10km@gmail.com. The 10 is also spelled out. Send us any notes, suggestions, tell us you want to come on the pod. And I neglected to mention, of course, Caroline has her own social media presence, which maybe she can get actually a little color on, which I always brush over because I forget.
Thanks. I'm just going to plug my own photography little Instagram / website. Website just launched. cmlphotos.com. Check her out.
What's your Instagram? CML.photos, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
At cml.photos.
At CML.photos. All right. I almost just said somebody's full name there. Remember that person who John always says at?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do that.
We don't do that. But there is a girl
Live
that John
media.
is interested in, which he always calls her at and then says her full name. Like, he doesn't call her regular name. He calls her at.
Her Instagram handle, because he slides into her
Her
DMs.
slides directly into her DMs. It's pretty hilarious. So that's the deal with our social media stuff. So finally, while I'm sure you're listening, he really is a gem. While I'm sure you're listening on some podcast app, if you're looking for another one, we are on the Apple Podcast app, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, pretty much wherever podcasts can be found. So Kyle, so Linus, those are the things that I would say And I think that's all I got to say, my friend.
Those are the things.
Those are the things.
Those
Well,
are the things.
If you're keen, I would love to break up this quarantine lifestyle with another pod sometime soon.
Mike, my next course of action is to figure out which quarantine movie we're potting about. So I'll be
Okay.
with you shortly on that.
Yeah, let me know. I have to actually ping our good friend Jerry to make sure he's got a topic ready to go. So I'm sure he'll be ready.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what he's got for us.
What a great day. Caroline Pod and Jerry in the shoot.
Yeah, Jerry in the shoot, baby. All right. Well, Kyle, this
All
was
right.
delightful. It's lovely to see you.
All right. See y'all later then.
All right.
Sayonara.
Peace.
Peace.